As the cost of food continues to soar and concerns about what's in the food we eat increase, more people are turning to their own backyards to grow fruits and vegetables. People often think food can't grow successfully in the desert Southwest, but in fact, we can grow many of the same foods you would find at your local grocery store. Growing your own will give you a bigger variety. Before you get started, survey your landscape. A successful garden needs a certain amount of sun, water, good drainage, loose soil, and protection from wind. The most important decision you'll make about starting a vegetable garden is where to put it. Factors to consider include topography, exposure, and soil. Look for areas in your landscape, the front, back, or side yard, that get at least 6 to 8 hours of sunlight.
If you think about morning sunlight, say between 6 and say 12 or 2, that daylight doesn't seem to scorch so much. And you know how temperatures rise as we go through the afternoon? Well, that's what happens to plants, and they'll get sunburned, they'll get scorched, especially plants that have bigger leaves, say lettuce or cabbage. They don't particularly like to be sunburned. So if you can put your garden in a place where it gets morning and early afternoon light, you'll probably have much better success.
To complicate matters, each yard has microclimates, areas where temperatures may be higher and lower than the rest of the yard and even the surrounding neighborhood. If you have a sloped yard, the low area is probably cooler since cool air sinks. In Las Vegas, planting lower to the ground is the better option since we experience such extreme temperatures in the summer. Advantages to planting in a low area are less wind and potentially richer, wetter soil. Good soil is the foundation of an abundant garden. Unfortunately, Southern Nevada's soils are naturally poor and deficient in nutrients. So if you want a good producing garden, you will need to amend your soil.
Our soils, it's not that they're bad, it's that they're infertile, have high boron, are very alkaline, and they're salty. But other than that, they're perfectly okay. So if you're growing things that are not really designed to grow in alkaline, salty, high boron, infertile soils, what you need to do is, we always tell people, add compost. If you're going to be gardening in the ground, add lots of compost, mix it in well, and then you should have some good success.
Now comes the fun part, choosing what you want to plant in your garden. Visit your favorite nursery, purchase a catalog, or shop online for good quality vegetable seeds.
The first thing you want to do is make sure that you're buying seeds that were packed for this year. Sometimes they'll have discounts on older seeds, and while most of the time they will germinate fine, there are the times when they won't germinate so well, and some plants you cannot grow, say onions. An onion seed is not any good after a year or so. The other thing is, what do you like? So if you like tomatoes, then get tomatoes that have what we call a shorter growth period. So rather than getting something that takes 90 days from start to finish, get something 65 to 70 days. It probably won't be a beefsteak tomato. It'll probably be maybe 1.5 to 2 inches across, but it will be flavorful like you wouldn't believe, and it won't suffer the pangs of growing in June.
Naturally, you need to know what to plant and when. March is a good time to get started in the garden, especially if you love peas, onions, lettuce, and cabbage. Most cool season crops will germinate in soils with temperatures of 40 to 45 degrees Fahrenheit, but some, like peas and lettuce, can germinate when soil temps are as low as 35 degrees. These plants can withstand light frosts, which we do occasionally experience in Las Vegas. The crop options are plentiful for cool season veggies, but you may not be able to plant everything you desire. Consider your space and be careful not to overplant.
If, for instance, you're going to grow melons this summer, remember that melon plants get very big. So if you have a very limited amount of space, you probably are not going to take that whole space with one melon plant. If you have lettuce, you can fit 4 lettuce plants in a square foot. Same thing with spinach or radishes. Other things, maybe 2 per square foot. Sometimes if it's a larger plant, for instance, a good-sized tomato, you'd only put one of those every 2 square feet.
Growing crops takes water, but don't rely on your lawn sprinkler system to irrigate your vegetable garden. Sprinkler water evaporates too quickly and won't reach the root of your vegetables. Tap into an existing drip irrigation system for the most convenient way to water plants without wasting resources.
If you're growing a rooting vegetable, remember, it's got to be moist all the way down the course of that root or the plant doesn't grow so well. Think about a sponge that you have wet and squeezed out as thoroughly as you possibly can. That's about how moist you want the soil around your plants to be. So just one emitter for a small vegetable is just fine. If you have something that's going to get bigger, you would probably put in 2.
So you planted your garden and you can't wait to watch it grow. But you're not done yet. Your vegetables need ongoing care to see them through. Check beds regularly and remove weeds promptly, particularly when they're small seedlings. For lasting non-chemical weed control, use organic mulch. Mulch is a natural weed suppressant and it retains soil moisture. If you're more comfortable learning about gardening in a classroom setting first, the University of Nevada Cooperative Extension is a good community resource. Master gardeners provide free, research-based horticulture information to Southern Nevadans and offer a series of gardening classes. The Cooperative Extension keeps its program calendar online. The Springs Preserve also is a great resource. Expert staff teaches monthly gardening workshops, and you can find additional free resources by visiting the botanical gardens.